What if I told you that while the world remembers the Armenian Genocide, two other entire nations were nearly erased, yet history rarely speaks their names? The Assyrians and Greeks of the Ottoman Empire faced unspeakable horrors. Massacres, forced marches, starvation, and cultural destruction. Why were these atrocities committed? And why are they still hidden in the shadows of history? That's the dark truth we uncover today. In the early 20th century, the Ottoman Empire was collapsing. Nationalism was rising. Borders were shifting, and paranoia consumed the ruling Young Turks. They believed non-Muslim minorities, Armenians, Assyrians, and Greeks, were potential traitors, collaborators with foreign powers. Instead of coexistence, the empire turned to annihilation. For the Assyrians, one of the world's oldest Christian communities, the nightmare began in 1915. Villages in modern-day Turkey, Iraq, and Iran were burned. Men were executed. Women were abducted. Children starved. Entire populations were forced into death marches through mountains and deserts. Out of an estimated 750,000 Assyrians, nearly half perished. This tragedy is remembered by survivors as the Seyfo, the year of the sword. At the same time, the Ottoman regime unleashed terror on the Greeks of Anatolia and Pontus. Families were driven from their ancestral lands. Churches were desecrated, and tens of thousands were sent on brutal deportations, where disease and hunger did the killing. Massacres in coastal towns turned the Black Sea red. Historians estimate that between 350,000 and 900,000 Greeks were murdered or displaced in what survivors called the Greek Genocide. The pattern was chillingly familiar. Arrest the men, execute community leaders, drive women and children into the wilderness, erase culture and faith. It was systematic, intentional, and devastatingly effective. Just like the Armenians, the Assyrians and Greeks were not collateral damage of war. They were targets of an organized plan to cleanse the empire of its Christian minorities. So why don't we hear about these genocides? At the time, Western powers recorded the atrocities, but did little to stop them. After World War I, politics and alliances buried the crimes under layers of silence. Recognition has been slow, uneven, and often contested, because admitting the truth means confronting uncomfortable questions of responsibility and denial. For the survivors, silence was not an option. Assyrian priests recorded the massacres in hidden manuscripts. Greek refugees carried with them songs of exile and memory. Families whispered stories to their children, ensuring the world would not forget, even if governments tried to erase them. Memory became their rebellion against oblivion. But here's the haunting question. If the Assyrian and Greek genocides remain unrecognized, what does that say about humanity's ability to learn from the past? The Holocaust, Rwanda, Bosnia, all reminders that when crimes go unpunished, they return. Ignoring these forgotten genocides doesn't just betray the victims, it endangers the future. Every nation built on the ashes of erased communities has a choice. Deny the past or confront it. Recognition is not about blame. It's about justice, healing, and truth. The Assyrian and Greek genocides demand acknowledgement, not silence. Their stories cry out. We lived, we suffered. Remember us. As you leave this story, ask yourself, how many more lives must vanish before humanity accepts that forgetting is a second death? The Assyrians and Greeks were not statistics. They were mothers, fathers, children, communities with songs, churches, and hopes. By remembering them, we give them back the dignity history tried to steal, because silence is complicity, and memory is resistance.